the corner.
Robert, Clayne, Jeff in Las Vegas. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing great because I attend Sundance every year. This was a film I was dying to see in 2020. Couldn't get tickets, couldn't get interviews with you guys. I was so thrilled to finally see this movie because it's like one of the top films I've been dying to see, and it's just incredible. So I just want to say
All right.
congratulations on an amazing drama.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
And Robert, the opening scene, the shock, it really sets the tone for this crime of passion and in the moment. I mean, it was that your intent to really, because it doesn't give any doubt of what this movie is going to be about. It just kind of grabs you by the throat and we're ready for this roller coaster.
Yeah, I knew when we started to move this into a feature as opposed to a short that I wanted the audience to understand the risk right off the bat. The risk of the movie as a whole, but also how to introduce the characters, the three that would be participating, and the danger that the two obviously in bed are unaware of, and for the most part unaware of the whole movie, and the dangerous stakes to the point of where David is. You know, he's standing on the cliff, right, debating the jump in this decision, and I thought it was really important because it would inform and contradict many of the other scenes throughout the film.
And not only that, it makes you just question David's behavior throughout the whole film. Anything could happen. You're on edge the whole time. And Clayne, David is a good son. He buys candy bars and steaks for his dad, and but he's determined to keep his family together, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's, Robert and I kind of discussed this going into the film, when you're on the verge of losing something that's you can feel has the most value in your life, and even more so for David, like he's built his life around his children. We had discussed how his job is designed in a way to where he can literally drop at the drop of a hat, he can go to be with this kid if need be. And I think when that's at risk, we behave out of character. And I think that's what we're seeing with him, that he's truly on the edge. And for me, that was what was so exciting about reading that first scene, as I knew that it was almost like the opening scene in Jaws, right? We know something's in the water. We know there's a danger. And now we have to navigate that throughout the story.
And Robert, this is just the tale of marrying too young in small town America, because I kept questioning where we were the whole film. I felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt, it was starkness about the whole movie. And it just kind of reflected David's desperation.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the place to be in Utah, in central Utah, and specifically in a small town to address the stakes are very, very different in choosing a life to kind of live in a small town. You intertwine yourself a little bit more than you do in a larger city with your neighbors and your community. But then in addition to that, to separate in a big city, you could then not run into each other ever again. To place it in a small town, it's like even in Kanosh itself, if they both remain to live there, Fairview is 15 miles away in another small town, but the only place where there's a grocery store. So are they going to run into each other at the grocery store? Definitely. Are they going to run into each other at the mechanic shop? Definitely. There's not a way to extract themselves, where I think maybe in a larger city, you could move, across, you could be in Brooklyn and Manhattan and then just never, So it was really critical for me to get at the human aspect, because, most people across the United States don't necessarily live in the larger cities.
And you made a point where David he would see everyone he saw, he would say, call them by name. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing? So it's just like, you can't escape this town or what happens in it. And, but Clayne, David, he's got this, I guess you call it open relationship, but he's trying to patch up his marriage. And that scene where his daughter says, fight for his dad, because you don't see David fighting, you just see him kind of like, he's almost like in sleepwalking through the movie.
That's interesting. Yeah. I guess I think David is trying to be respectful, and when someone who he cares for desperately says, just give me time, breathe, I need a moment to figure things out. I think that's what David's trying to do, but unfortunately he has to observe her behaviors from down the street. You know, she's in a home less than 100 yards away. So each day he walks outside, and to see a truck pull up in the evening and then wake up at 5 a.m. and that truck's still sitting there. I think he wants to fight, but he doesn't know what to do. And I think that's, so for me, I love that scene with Avery because it gives, a friend of mine said, I never knew what my father was going through during the divorce. And I remember being so angry at him because I felt like he was doing nothing. And I felt like he didn't care. And she goes, when I watched this film, I immediately called my father. And he and my mom had been divorced for 17 years. She said, but I immediately called my dad because I never knew what he was going through, that he held it together in a way that I wasn't able to see his pain.
Yeah, because you can see David fighting so many battles. You know, he's dealing with so many different things, and he seems overwhelmed and tormented. Definitely. So
agreed. Yeah.
And Robert, I love how you use single takes, especially in the car. I mean, you don't cut; you just keep the drama going. I noticed, especially in cars, in the car scenes, you just keep it going, even when they drive away. So I thought that was interesting, not to cut away from the emotion.
Yeah. My hope was to keep us in it. Sometimes we edit out the in-betweens, you know, as filmmakers, to really heighten just the moment in and of themselves that's significant. But if we look at the date scene, for example, when they drive around the block, like the moments in between, the things not said, the general questions about how's your dad doing and so forth, those are just as significant as later when they begin to discuss their relationship and their marriage, because those are very nuanced aspects. And sometimes, for myself anyways, I like to explore those because I think they're just as valuable, you know.
Absolutely. I love, I think I read a critic said it was wounded masculinity. I mean, it's just such a perfect description. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I absolutely enjoyed the film. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. And come out and visit us in Las Vegas. We're open. We'd love to have you.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot, Jeff.